I will speak mainly in French since I have more French. Les quatre femmes qui sont sur cette estrade ici mènent elles-mêmes un combat pour la liberté, pour les droits des femmes entre autres, mais aussi pour la liberté d'expression, la liberté de penser. C'est surtout ce titre-là, la liberté de penser, que Barry m'a demandé de m'exprimer. La liberté de penser en Occident n'existe pas depuis toujours. Elle a été acquise de haute lutte depuis l'époque des Lumières, en fait. Beaucoup de gens sont morts pour défendre cette idée. Le droit à la liberté d'expression est un droit à la dissidence, un droit aux opinions, un droit de choquer, un droit de caricaturer. Ce n'est pas le droit de seulement dire ce que les autres veulent entendre, mais c'est un droit de dire ce que les autres ne veulent pas entendre. Ce droit à la libre expression est très important. C'est par lui que c'est par le choc des idées qui se confrontent que nous avançons. Une société dans laquelle il y a de l'unanimité est une société qui n'avance pas, une société immobile. Et c'est d'ailleurs une chose qui me fait peur au Québec, particulièrement au Canada, l'unanimité des idées, et qu'on trouve particulièrement dans les médias. Our society is a rich society, and this wealth has not dropped on us from heaven. In fact, we earned this wealth. And freedom is one of the main reasons for the wealth of the West. Our success comes from the primacy of reason, comes from the right and the possibility to question other people's beliefs. It comes from innovation. It comes from the diffusion of information. And these can all only exist when there is freedom of speech. I will not speak long because I think that the main heroes here are women. So I will conclude by saying that I think that it is time for us to side with those who stand up to radical Islam. I think it's time for us to refuse to be intimidated here in our society. I think it is important for us to demand that immigrants respect a moral contract when they come here. And this moral contract contains freedom of expression. Furthermore, I think it's time for us to demand from Muslim countries reciprocity. I think that if mosques are built here with funds from Saudi Arabia, it's high time we ask that people from minorities in Muslim countries get the same rights as the people we have here. I was in Lebanon at the start of the war this summer, teaching for University of Montreal Business School there. So I was taught in the war. And but my experience was not that bad. And I was shocked to see how Christians were there before Muslims. Christians are not invaders in Lebanon. The Christian churches predate the Muslim presence in Lebanon. And it's the same with Jewish people. In fact, there are, I think, no more Jewish people in Lebanon now. But they were there a long time before. And I think that it's high time that we ask, as a society, that Muslim countries treat their minorities the way we treat Muslims here. And this includes Jews, Christians, women, and all minorities. And finally, I think that it's high time that we said the book stops here.
I don't know how we determine the order of speakers, but they'll just have to put up with it. This is a benevolent dictatorship, so that's how it was done. But we're going to start with Bridget Gabriel, and I think we can all understand why. Preeminently. By the way, I was asked by some reporters, some sociologues, how come all the speakers, after the compliment, how do you get to all these people we wanted to get to all these, how do you get them? Then came the sort of, little hit. How come they're all women? So I said, I don't know. Maybe the men have no guts, but if the people who speak for courage and if the people, the voices and the visions that will support what our Prime Minister said in Kandahar, that Canadians don't cut and run, that we have a bold new day in this country, if they're all one-legged dwarfs living in the same floor of an apartment building, if those are the eloquent and brave voices, those are the ones we'll bring. Bridget Gabriel has done more to give people the courage to stand up for a civilization than many others collectively have tried. And not from because they hate, and not from the book, and not from lately. I discovered her from a 2004 speech she gave at Duke University. And she described very simply what the struggle is today and what the existential struggle is. And she didn't do it in terms of Israel, the Jews, and what's good and what's bad, because that's not the issue, and that's not the issue. Here, we're here as Canadians, we're here as Quebecers, we're here as Western, small L liberals. She said it was very simple. It was barbarism versus civilization. Ladies and gentlemen, Bridget Gabriel.
Thank you. Merci, Madame et Monsieur. I will speak in English today, and I am honored to be here today to speak before you about the issue of terrorism. The issue of terrorism affects us all in Western nations today, regardless if we are Americans, British, Canadians, Australians, New Zealanders. We are hearing terrorism, and it's becoming the subject at the dinner table. There are those, even after 9/11, around the world, asking those who say that we must engage our terrorist enemies, that we must address their grievances. Their grievance is our freedom of religion. Their grievance is our democratic process. You know, they say you can read a book by its cover. I made sure I wrote that on the cover of my book. Because I believe this is the time. No, because I believe this is the time we must muster courage to stand up and identify what we are fighting. A lot of people think this cannot happen here. We are in Canada. You know, we didn't think it's going to happen in America in 2001. If you ask anyone in America, in September 10th, tomorrow your World Trade Center is going to be demolished to rubble. The Pentagon is going to be attacked. Everybody would have looked at you and said, you are nuts. You are out of your mind. I am sure you were all shocked when the 17 Canadians, when the plot was exposed about what they were planning to do, blowing up government buildings and all the chaos they wanted to create. I'm sure every single one of you was shocked. Just as we were shocked in Lebanon when our own Muslim neighbors declared holy war on us. I come from Lebanon. A lot of people, when they think of the Middle East, they think the Middle East is made up of Muslim countries. They don't realize that Lebanon was the only majority Christian country in the Middle East. We are a republic, very much like the United States and Canada, with Western democracy, the only Arabic Western-style democracy in the Middle East, and it was because of our Judeo-Christian values. When we got our independence from France in the early 40s, the majority of the population were Christians. The Muslims were the minority. We built the country to become Paris of the Middle East. You must be Lebanese. The banking capital of the Middle East. We had the best economy. We had the best education. We had the best universities. We were multicultural.